welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where I am back from the cruise. Yes, I am precious. So if I seem like I'm late to the game, it's because I am. I was on the high seas when this news broke. And then when I got back, I got sick. I guess I got the cruise crud. Luckily, it wasn't anything worse, but I feel terrible. But I decided to go ahead and go live and go through this because it's very rare in life where you are completely and utterly justified. A lot of my videos got a lot of really strong reactions as House of the Dragon Season 2 was airing because, oh, you're just a hater. Oh, you just got a crap take. Oh, but George R. R. Martin supports this. Well, guess what? He doesn't. And he posted on his What a Blog his thoughts, especially saying, frankly, everything I've been saying and we've been saying. And shout out to people like Steve Kenobi. Salty Traveling Sea had been saying it. So had Prophet of the Dragon, Sporking Newscast, Sporking had, and many people on there as well. So we'd been saying what was wrong with it. So once again, sadly, you see me in a position of defending George R. R. Martin. One of these days, I'm going to be able to stop doing it. But what can I say? When someone's right, they're right. And it is objectively true that George R. R. Martin is a fantastic writer. And what he did with Fire and Blood was amazing. I like Fire and Blood better than A Song of Ice and Fire. But to be fair, I've been very slowly reading A Song of Ice and Fire. So I've got 1.5 more books to do. Because I'm hoping if I keep very slowly reading it and ingesting it, that means that I will be able to go straight into the Winds of Winter. We shall see. Until he finishes Winds of Winter, though, he will always be on my crap list. But here we are. We're going to do this. Morning. Hello, Soul Assassin. Good morning. And welcome everyone that is coming in and to everyone that will be coming in on the replay. And if I forgot to give shout out, oh, did I say according to Christy? I should have said according to Christy. She was on board even sooner than I was. I was showing severe misgivings in season 1 with those whole birth things going on because I was seeing that their trajectory of where they were going was a little bit wrong. It's therefore that I usually always have issues with. It's not the events. I often don't look at the events or the certain small points. I like to look at the therefore. Like, oh, is it really a big deal that they changed Emma's death? No. But what's the therefore of it? Oh, wow, they did the same thing with Lena. Oh, they did something with Rhaenyra. All right. But I sincerely thought, all right, some of these things that were wrong in season 1, we're going to be able to correct them because obviously we're just going to go straight into straight history, House of the Dance of the Dragons, and it's going to be amazing. I mean, we got Blood and Cheese to look forward to. I know about in the same way you would look forward to, say, the Wed Wedding, but it was supposed to be this amazing thing. And I was just so shocked at how awfully they dropped the ball from the very beginning. And even when Blood and Cheese went off, people were like, oh, well, maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get her. Well, guess what? It didn't. And look who's here. It is Shane Nolan. Good morning, Teresa. Can't stay long. We'll catch up later. Thank you. Appreciate you for being here. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit nasally. It's because I've got a horrible cold. We have a doggy in the house. Woof, woof, Miss Martin and everyone. Everyone's saying hello. Still waiting for Winds of Winter. Yeah. I mean, I was going to stop. I was going to not even resume reading until Winds of Winter came out. But then I'm like, darn it. Fine. I'll do it. So I'm in the middle of A Feast for Crows. But Fire and Blood, though, amazing. Maybe it's because I'm a historian, but this whole fake history and the way it all went, so good. And again, so easy to adapt. What I also like about what George R. R. Martin is kind of pointing out is that he's calling out these aren't budget issues. These aren't adaptation issues. That are the problem. So, shut up with that. I don't know if he said shut up with that, but that's definitely what we heard. Hey, so, okay, so let's just dive right into this. So here we go. Beware the Butterfly is not a blog. Now, Dude probably deleted it because, oh my gosh, probably he was violating an NDA, non-disparagement agreement, because he calls out some names. Maybe it's because he's getting old. He gives zero clucks, but it was glorious. So he starts off first with Blood and Cheese. Now he tries to be a little bit objective at first, where he says, "Hey, there were many things about episode 1 and 2 I liked. Smash the like. Well, thank you. Yes, please do. Yes, everyone's saying hello to each other. So here we go. Don't forget the like button. Correct. Thank you. In my book, Aegon and Helena have 3 children, not 2. I don't know. Maybe it sounds like this is what we were witching about. The twins, Jaehaerys and Jaehaera, are 6 years old. They have a younger brother, Maelor. Remember, he called him Maelor the Missing, who is 2. When Blood and Cheese break in on Helena and the kids, they tell her they are debt collectors come to exact revenge for the death of Prince Lucerys, a son for a son. As Helena has 2 sons, however, they demand to choose which one should die. She resists and offers her own life instead, but the killers insist it has to be a son. If she does not name one, they will kill all 3. To save the life of the twins, Helena names Maelor, but Blood kills the older boy, Jaehaerys, instead, while Cheese tells little Maelor that his mother wanted him dead. Whether the boy is old enough to understand that is not at all certain. Yeah. From a certain point of view, I think a child cannot understand that. So that's how it goes in the book. We know that. That's not how it happens in the show. There is no Maelor in House of the Dragon, only the twins. Blood can't seem to tell the twins apart, so Helena is asked to reveal which one is the boy. You would think that a glance would take care of that. Exactly. Again, that's where it's bad writing. Everyone was saying, dudes, I mean, it might be a little bit disturbing, but that's one way to tell. Instead of offering her own life to save the kids, that's the other thing. Helena offered her own life, a great mother's sacrifice. They have her offer a necklace. See, little changes mean things. Blood and Cheese are not tempted. Blood saves, well, we know what happened. I'm not going to say it. We are spared the sight of that. A sound effect suffices. It is a brutal scene, no doubt. How not? An innocent child. I'm not going to read aloud some of the descriptions here, so if I'm skipping, that's why. So we have that. He says of obviously the book in the scene is Stronger's. The readers have the right of that. You see, he's remember everyone just crapping on all of us book readers and George R. R. Martin doesn't think this. This is the real version. Well, no, apparently not. The 2 killers are crueler in the book. And he points out that the actors were excellent. Like all of us, all the acting is great. But they are they're crueler, harder, and more frightening in Fire and Blood. Yeah, he wanted to make it what a Coen Brothers heist thing. It's like, dude, do you not understand your material? Condal, rather. In the show, Blood is a gold cloak. In the book, he is a former gold cloak, stripped of his offices for a terrible thing. Book Blood is the sort of man who might think making a woman choose which is one of her sons should die. Sorry. Making a woman choose which of her sons should die is amusing, especially when they double down on the wanton cruelty by killing the boy she saves. Book Cheese is worse too. He does not kick a dog, true. Yes, everyone was outraged. Goes to show don't mess with dogs. But he does not have a dog, and he's the one who tells Maelor that his mom wants him dead. I would also suggest that Helena shows more courage, more strength in the book by offering her own life to save her son. Offering a piece of jewelry is not the same. Darn right. Absolutely. These changes mean things. And here's the thing, an author, a good author, they don't put things in for no reasons. No, he is not. You see, here's the thing. they made it clear that, by season 2 that he was gone, and that's why I was, getting a little frustrated with people. I'm like, "Dudes, he's gone." They said he's gone. That he was they s Ryan Condal made that in the Entertainment Weekly thing. It was in one of my videos. And also this whole idea that this is the real version of it, it's like, no, it is not. That was something that the HBO people was trying to say. But yeah, I think he had some input at in the creation of it. Yes, in season 1, he was on board with season 1, but no. Cuz remember how he said, "Oh, the writers are meeting. I'm not in the writers meetings." Well, look who's here all the way from the future, all the way from the future. It is George or oh my gosh, this is what happens when a woman has a cold. I'm gonna blame this on the cold. It is Steve Kenobi. George R. R. Martin dragged his feet rather than finishing the books. Oh well, yeah. I mean, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I will forever be hating on him for that. He will never have a pass. Never have a pass on that. But unfortunately, the SOB is right so much, and I on these issues with House of the Dragon. So once again, I reluctantly find myself defending him because I'm never going to be happy with him for not finishing the books. Offering a piece of jewelry is just not the same. Darn right. As I saw it, the Sophie's Choice aspect of it was the strongest part of the sequence. You see? You see? The most visceral. I hated to lose that. And judging and judging from the comments online, most of the fans seem to agree. Yeah. Yes, Hound, I believe you are correct on that as well, and you can tell, can't you? Season 5. It is a nerdporial life form. Hello, thank you for being here. Yes, vindicated we are. Vindicated we are. I'm wondering if it's some of the shill types that were defending it at every turn, if they are changing their tune or if they're doubling down. I think they'll double down if the choice is between access and truth. When Ryan Condal first told me what he meant to do ages ago, back in 2022, I argued against it for all these reasons. I did not argue long or with much heat, however. The change weakened the sequence I felt, but only a bit. And Ryan had what seemed to be practical reasons for it. They did not want to deal with casting another child, especially a toddler. Budget was already an issue, and it made sense to save money where we could. When you look for the therefore, ask what it's there for. But therefore's first cousin is moreover. Look what the moreover is saying. Moreover, Ryan assured me that we were not losing Prince Maelor, simply postponing him. Queen Helena could still give birth in season 3, presumably after getting with child in late season 2. That made sense to me, so I withdrew my objection and acquiesced to the change. Ha ha. Dun dun dun. The Winds of Winter is not complete because of some British cigarettes? Is that what you're saying? Really? Well, what's their problem? Yeah, we're all waiting for the 6th book. My comment got suppressed. Oh, okay. George R. R. Martin based. Hello, Uncle Ruckus. Yes, and hello. Same as with the original there we go, says Steve Kenobi. Involved at the beginning until the showrunners Eagles felt they didn't need him anymore. You see, he gave us a hint that this is what was to come with his season 2 when he said about writers wanting to TV writers thinking they know better than the author. House of the Dragon, says Uncle Ruckus, has been ruined because the writers want to push their political agenda over a civil war where both sides are dodgy, but the Greens are better. That is an interesting take, and I think a very strong take. Yeah. And in their comments, they have usually let their biases show. They like House Team Black, so they want them to look good. And they don't like Damon, so they're taking away everything that makes Damon awesome. I mean, Damon was pretty awesome in season 1. And I think a lot of that, again, had to do with more stronger people's involvement. The guy whose name I can't pronounce was involved. Well, George claims, says Nordporeal Lightform, that he stopped writing on the Game of Thrones because he was working on The Winds of Winter. Yeah, well, and again, that's where I will not defend George R.R. Martin one little bit. I will rake him over the coals, and I have on many occasions. He deserves every little bit of criticism he gets for Winds of Winter and all of that, and I will give him grief forever. He does owe us. He owes the fans a book, especially he owes the poor bastards who've been reading it since I was in high school. Jeannie Mac, do you realize that? I think that was when it first started. Nerdporeal, working on a script takes a month, according to an old blog post. Yeah, George R.R. Martin was told they didn't need him anymore. Yeah, imagine that. No, the F word, everyone calls those who disagree with them Italian for bundles of sticks. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I meant. British cigarettes is the same too. Okay, I got it. The word the Pope said. Oh, gee. Oh, don't even. Maybe that's for a Catholic explaining it. This Pope is something else. He literally thought he would have it complete by Halloween in 2015. Yeah, something happened. But, I've always said, as a writer, you suck it up and you write. End of story. He's trying to balance nice and bad. I still love the episode and the blood and cheese sequence overall. Losing the Helena's choice beat did weaken the scene, but not to any great degree. Only the book readers would even notice its absence. Viewers who had never read Fire and Blood would still find the scene heartrending. Mailer didn't actually do anything in the scene. How could he? He was only 2 years old. I don't think he can finish and doesn't want to admit it. I think that is the case. Or he has finished both that and A Dream of Spring and wants it to be published after his death because he just can't deal. We know that personally he's kind of becoming unhinged. He's had a very bad year, as he said, and did some really strange rantings and ravings. Uncle Ruckus says, nah, the hate to George is unwarranted. He is old. He owes nobody anything, especially finishing wins. Let him live his life. Well, yes and no. He made a contract with the readers. We bought his stuff because he said he was going to give 7 books. So you got to give the readers 7 books. If he wants to live his life, get someone to ghostwrite it then. That's my opinion. Aegon is a true king, green superior. Well, my answer is yes. When you have male primogeniture, it has to be absolute. And that was the big fault of Viserys, trying to say, well, if I declare it so. Now, there might have been some gray area, like can the king name his heir? But come on. It was the time of male primogeniture. And the second Aegon II was born, that should have removed Rhaenyra from the succession. So I can maybe understand. Viserys wouldn't suck as bad, even though magnificently played in the show. But as a character, it's all his fault. He could have made Rhaenyra the heir to the throne. Yes, they all swore to it. She's the heir. But once Aegon II was born, that would have knocked her out of the line of succession. Happens all the time. It happened with the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. She was behind King Charles, now King Charles, but then when her brother Andrew was born, he knocked her out of succession rather. So then she came behind Andrew, and then when Edward was born, she was behind Edward because at that time they had male primogeniture. That was changed in 2013. I think he lost interest in doing it. Yeah, yeah, which makes him, but still he needs to do it. Sorry, kid. I'm sorry. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down and written stuff and maybe thought it wasn't the greatest, but I had a deadline. He just needs to suck it up and then go live on his island with his trains and things, but he needs to finish it. On this, though, he's right. And on a lot of his commentary, he's right. I think that when you hear him talk, he's very intelligent and very knowledgeable and is worth listening to. There is another aspect, however, to the removal of the young princeling. Oh, wait, there's another aspect to the removal of the young princeling, however. That's the other thing. We see it, however, ask how it's ever. Spoilers! 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 It's spoilers definitely for Fire and Blood. And he's like, but maybe it doesn't matter because all I'm going to do is spoil things that happen in the book that may never happen in the show, starting with Maelor himself. Sometime between the initial decision to remove Maelor, a big change was made. The prince's birth was no longer just going to be pushed to season 3. He was never going to be born at all. The younger son of Aegon and Helena would never appear. And then here we see the butterfly. Don't mention that fool, Charles. Not a fan, apparently. Well, technically, he is the king. When Winds of Winter gets released, says Steve Kenobi, about 500,000 non-readers will fly into a rage because Book 7 isn't out. You know how the game is played, Steve, absolutely. Viserys the First is as bad as Aegon the Fourth. The Greens won the war. People who say Rhaenyra won is like saying Queen Mary Queen of Scots defeated Elizabeth because her son became king. Interesting, yes. Yeah, the Greens did win. Yes. From a certain point of view, though, because the heir did get on the throne. Yes. Well, when you look at the anarchy from which it's based, that is how history looks at Queen Matilda. So maybe people are going there with that, or maybe not. But yes, the Greens win. And I think it's going to be kind of badass. We're afraid, though, that because they all want to make Rhaenyra something she's not, they may take away that magnificent ending of her. C. Kenobi says, changes to lore always have retroactive ripple effects. Happened to Star Wars when Disney altered war. Darn right, butterfly. Let's get into these butterflies. He explains that the whole thing, but I'll just go to his little conclusion here. The lesson being that change begets change, and even small and seemingly insignificant alterations to a timeline or a story can have a profound effect on all that follows. Huh? Yeah. So then he goes on to say what happens with Maelor. Maelor is a 2-year-old toddler that right before Rhaenyra, and I'm summarizing here, that Rhaenyra is going to be capturing King's Landing, so they all flee. Queen Alicent becomes concerned for the safety of Helena's remaining children and takes steps to save them by smuggling them out of the city. Here's the other thing. In the show, they had Queen Alicent selling them all out, except for Helena and Jaehaera. The task is given to 2 knights of the King's Guard to protect the children. Sir Willis was committed to deliver Princess Jaehaera to the Baratheons, and Maelor given over to Sir Rickard Thorne to be escorted across the Mandor to the protection of the High Tower army on its way to King's Landing. Now, this is one of the most devastating things you will ever read in a book, but it is completely accurate to what history is and the way it works. So Jahara gets okay, but Sir Rickard fares less well. They get as far as Ritterbridge, where he's caught out as being a Kingsguard in a tavern called the Hogshead. And Sir Rickard fights bravely to protect his young charge and bring him to safety, but he does not even make it across the bridge before some crossbows bring him down. Prince Maelor is torn from his arm and then sadly to pieces by the mob fighting over the boy and the huge reward that Rhaenyra has offered him for his capture and return. It is a tense sequence. Gosh, that's how it's so good. It's that you're sitting and reading a history book and it's tense. Uncle Orca says, on an unrelated note, imagine how fantastic an animated show on the Curse of the Nordlord Sons of Feanor would be without any political agenda or changing events and characters. Yeah, it'll never happen. And look what they're doing with the next anime, the first one, the one with the Rohirrim, and it's just all going to be about a woman that they add stuff to. I mean, she didn't even have a name in the story. Going back to Martin, will any of that appear on the show? Maybe, but I don't see how. The butterflies would seem to prohibit it. You could perhaps make Sir Rickard's ward be Jahara instead of Maelor, but Jahara can't be killed. She has a huge role to play as Aegon's next heir. I think they're just going to cut it out. Yeah, pardon me if I'm sipping tea in between. You will thank me for it. I've got a horrible cold. Could maybe make Maelor a newborn instead of a 2-year-old. That would scramble up the timeline, which is a bit of a mess already. I think, yeah, some people have said maybe she's already pregnant with him because, as we were so disgustingly told, Aegon doesn't have what it takes to make a baby anymore. I have no idea what Ryan has planned. If indeed he has planned anything. I love this because Ryan Condal went full Benohoff and Wise. Definitely Benohoff on their smug. Oh, well, if you look at this, oh, we this. And it sounded a lot of Danny kind of forgot kind of stuff, especially when he was talking about Meleys the dragon. But given Maelor's absence from episode 2, the simplest way to proceed would be just to drop him entirely. Lose a bit where Alicent tries to send the kids to safety, drop Rickard Thorne, or send him with Willis Fell so Jahara has 2 guards. Yeah. Well, I think they're not even going to try to send Jahara to safety because Alicent made that deal and she's like, oh, because she's my best friend, she's not going to hurt him. Robbie A, hello. You just know the writer's room for House of the Dragon Season 3 are all itching to write that Rhaenyra Alicent scene after she takes King's Landing. Yeah, I think so. From what I know, that seems to be what Ryan is doing here. It's simplest, yes, and may make sense in terms of budgets and shooting schedules, but simpler is not better. And where George is going rather with this. Because everyone says, well, they have to do this because of budgets. They have to do this because of budgets. Like, not necessarily. Get some extras in a tavern scene. I could film that in my backyard. It's not that expensive. And simpler is not better. Yeah, saying the things are simple. There's other things that are simple, quote unquote. The Bitterbridge scene has tension, suspense, action, bloodshed, a bit of heroism, and a lot of tragedy. And then he goes on to say that TV show watchers won't even know he's gone since they never knew him at all. But I rather liked giving him the brief moment of heroism, a taste of the courage and loyalty of the King's Guard, regardless of whether they are black or green. You see, they just don't understand the source material. Oh, gosh. Because this, nah, what could have been? What could have been? The butterflies are not done with us yet, however. In the book, when word of Prince Maelor's death and the grisly manner of his passing, he even gives us the page number. When it reaches the Red Keep, proves to be the thing that drives Queen Helena to remove herself from the planet. She could barely stand to look at Maelor, knowing that she chose him to die in the Sophie's Choice scene, and now he is dead in truth, her words having come true. The grief and guilt are too much for her to bear. This is where he's probably got himself in trouble more than anything else. He gives us some spoilers from the show. In Ryan's outline for season 3, Helena will remove herself from the planet for no particular reason. There is no fresh horror, no triggering event to overwhelm the fragile young queen. Ouch. See, if you are a good writer, you know how to diss without dissing. And he dissed. But man, that's even what I'll even say. For no particular reason. Though I'm usually sarcastic when I say for no reason. Because usually I'm saying wink, wink, there is. But yeah, she just kills herself. Why not? Offs herself. Oops, sorry. Sorry, algorithm. Why not? And then the final butterfly. Queen Helena, a sweet and gentle soul, much beloved by the small folks of King's Landing, is much beloved. Rhaenyra was not. So when rumors began to arise that Helena did not remove herself, but rather was murdered at Rhaenyra's command, the commons are quick to believe him. That night, King's Landing rose in bloody riot, I wrote in page 506 of Blood of Fire. It is the beginning of the end for Rhaenyra's rule over the city, ultimately leading to the storming of the Dragon Pit, the rise of the Shepherd's Mob that drives Rhaenyra to flee the city and to Dragonstone and her death. Yeah, see, they're not going to do that because they like her too much. That's why they tried to make everything Daemon's fault or some weird stuff in season 2. Norporeal Lifeform says, honestly, I just want to see how the plot points from Dance play out in the Winds of Winter. I'm not sure I'm interested in A Dream of Spring. Yeah, maybe we won't need A Dream of Spring. Who knows? It's a fool's folly to think too much of it, though, because it's a dream. Butterflies, indeed. It is Salty Traveling Sea. Hello. Salty Traveling Sea. Yes, we were right, weren't we? From Blood and Cheese from the first episode. Mm-hmm. When everyone else was going, oh my gosh, it is so great. Oh my gosh. And throughout the whole season, we're praising it. Not seeing what was right before their very eyes. House of Dragon. Oh wait, I just said that. The dull pointless meh that keeps on giving. Hello, good morning. Everyone's saying hello. Yes, I have a horrendous cold, but I caught it on the cruise, so it was worth it. That and all the blackjack. Maelor by himself means little. He's a small child, does not have a line of dialogue, does nothing of consequence but die. But where and when and how, that does matter. Darn right, kids. See, this is what makes the difference between a writer and a hack, or people who don't know how to write that just say, I'm a writer. There's structure to it, there's art to it. It's not just, "I feel inspired." When, where, and how, that does matter. I say that in history. I would say that with my scholars, my students. Tell me who, what, when, where, how, why is it important? Why is it important is the last. Otherwise, why are you writing it? Losing Maylor weakened the end of the blood and cheese sequence, darn right, but it also cost us the Bitterbridge scene with all of its horror and heroism. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Heroism. There is a lot of heroism in Fire and Blood and in George R. R. Martin's works. But if you cut it, then yeah, no wonder everyone thinks asinine things about it. Though my opinion is, don't judge George Martin by what you see on the television. And this is probably a good reason why. Teresa was crushing the blackjack tables and got the boogie woogie fever, or something like that. I was cruising the blackjack tables. Yes, I was up very, very late at the blackjack tables. It's 24 hours, and the cabin was just right below it. It was, but it was so much fun. I love blackjack, and I haven't been able to properly play blackjack in years. So yes, and I think what I caught was, well, there was a lot of children, a lot of people on a cruise, and I should have brought more Purell. I spent a lot of time in the spa and at the blackjack table. And the blackjack table. Soul Assassin. Anything goes when you hit the international waters. Blackjack, darn right. Gosh darn it, yeah. So glad you got away to run the tables and sip margaritas. Yes, though not the not the margaritas, but that's okay. Yes. Yes, everyone, I really needed it. Really, really needed it. It has been a hard year, but I rejuvenated. So it was really, really nice. And a lot of reading on the balcony, a lot of reading in the spa. I'm gonna be doing a Teresa Travels based on all of it. It was something else. And the group of friends, these are friends I had back from up north when I lived up there before I moved to Texas. We're all going to go together again in May on an Alaska cruise, which is gonna be pretty epic. So back to dead children. But there is heroism in George R. R. Martin's works. Read the books, listen to what he actually says. Don't fall for that clickbait. I'm still cranky. I'm so cranky I came out of retirement. Some dude did this big long clickbait, of course, Tolkien versus Martin, and just went on. And it's just, I don't even know. It was just asinine. And then, oh, now that you're here, oh, I'm a writer. Here's a link to my book. People do that because it works. I have very strong feelings about trying to compare the two. You cannot compare. And Martin even agrees with that Tolkien is above everybody. It's a waste of time and it's silly, but it's really done for engagement bait and rage bait. I like honesty. Yeah, we have no motivation for Helena. Here's what they're going to do in the show. I've got it. It just came to me. What they're going to do in the show, they're going to have her decide to remove herself from the planet because she got some stupid vision that says, oh, this is what needs to happen for the prince that was promised. That's what they're going to do. She's going to say, oh, oops, I need to fulfill my destiny. Goodbye, everybody. And takes a swine dive. Yeah, it undercut the motivation for Helena removing herself from the planet, and that in turn sent thousands into the streets and alleys screaming for justice for their murdered queen. None of that is essential, I suppose. Well, yes, it is, because it's a huge part of where they turn on Rhaenyra. I'm gonna disagree with you now. Dang it. I take back everything I said about you, Martin. It is essential, but all of it does serve a purpose. And it helps the story tie the storylines together. So one thing follows another in a logical and convincing manner. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it all serves a purpose. It ties the storylines together. Maybe what he's saying about it's not essential, meaning as long as she dies and maybe everyone will think it's Rhaenyra's fault. And it'll be because of misogyny. And the final butterfly. Wait, I just said the final butterfly. Oh, here it is. What we offer the fans instead once we've killed the butterflies? I have no idea. You see, this is harsh and probably unprofessional, especially if he has an NDA. I do not recall that Ryan and I ever discussed this back when he first told me they were pushing back on Aegon's second son. Naylor himself is not essential, but if losing him means we also lose Bitterbridge, Helena's off removing herself, and the riots, well, that is a considerable loss. We told you so. We told you so. Is she going to drop like a Tommen? Probably. They're good. Yeah, she's just going to go, I had a vision. I saw Danny, the Song of Ice and Fire. Our story must go on because winter is coming. Goodbye. And there she flies. It's going to happen. You know it will. Actually, if it happens exactly like that, I will take credit. Mailer has a big role in Helena's death and HBO ruined. That is correct. And Bitterbridge, rather. Thank you, Nacholoni 17. Thank you for being here. Yep. And then the final slap across the face that he gives. And there are larger and more toxic butterflies to come. If House of the Dragon goes ahead with some of the changes being contemplated for season 3 and 4. GRRM. More toxic. So it's like he's telling us, kids, it's gonna get worse if they go ahead with the changes contemplated for season 3 and 4. Boom. Gosh, can you imagine what he knows? Wow. He's letting us know. This is gonna be beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful. Salty says, so if you remember the character's motivations and actions, then there is no actual narrative that makes the story. No way. Yes. Yes. Nordporeal life form. I can't imagine Robert Jordan allowing these lame changes. As much as I like A Song of Ice and Fire, I think Martin is a second Greek letter type. Ah, Beta. Yes. Here's my thinking. Back when he sold the rights to Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire to HBO, he wasn't really the big, huge name that he is right now. And I think he just thought, oh, yeah, whatever. I'll just sell them. So whatever agreement he made wasn't a good one. As opposed to someone like Rowling, who probably had the best lawyer on the planet. Maybe that's me giving him too much credit. Robert Jordan, well, it's hard to say what somebody would do since they have passed, but I agree. I cannot imagine him doing that, especially because Robert Jordan, as opposed to George R. R. Martin, George R. R. Martin is someone that I see as someone that comprehends and understands the human condition, good versus evil, religious symbolism, mythology, and all that, but he sees it as like someone looking from the out because he does not have a strong faith. Robert Jordan was a very devout high church Episcopalian. It was part of his life view. I'm not going to say that that was put into the wheel of time in the same way that Tolkien did for him, frankly, because I don't think he's ever said so, and I don't have enough knowledge of it. But it is true that he was a believer in good versus evil. I have heard him say that. That one thing about fantasy is you can say there is good, there is evil. Unambiguously, this is so. So in his case, for that reason, I could imagine him feeling very strongly about this Wheel of Time, and perhaps maybe he might have gotten a better deal or gotten more involved. I just keep remembering, though, and always giving respect to Robert Jordan, that when he knew he was going to die, he made sure that his fans would get a completed story. And I contrast that to George R. R. Martin all day. That's why I say I don't like defending him often. So quit making me defend him, people, because that is a fair comparison between the two. I th- you cannot compare their writing necessarily because their writing is so different. And both of them are great writers. But Jordan, on his deathbed, was dictating plot points about how things were going to go. Dialogue, he imagined how it was going to be so that his fans could get a good experience. Contrast that with Martin. I don't know anything. Need to make a betting pool of what will happen to characters. Yeah. Beta. Yeah, thank you. Good morning, good people. Hello, Adega Outlaw. Yeah. I have a really, really horrible cold, but it was worth it. That cruise was amazing. The next cruise I'm going on, I'm going to know better. I am going to pretend we're back in the coof days and bring more Purell. So if my voice is all nasally, mea maxima culpa. Nordporeal Lifeform says people gave Martin so much crap because of RJ's death. His famous My Detractors blog in 2009 because of how long he was taken with dance. Sweet Summer Children. Oh, let me see. People gave so much. Oh yeah, I remember he made people wait 5 years for the Dance of Dragon. Yeah, Sweet Summer Children. It's like, hold my beer. For those of you that, oh, I'll say it, what a bastard. Yeah, there is no defense of George R. R. Martin as far as that is concerned. Yeah, 6 years. I think the Winds of Winter people would love for 6 years. Oh dear. Okay, I want to read aloud a little bit. I can't really share this because there's too many ads. It's popping up all over the place. This is from winteriscoming.net. They got a little bit of transcription of some things that Ryan Condal said. He said, I think a lot of this story is still kind of in progress. So I don't want to say too much to preserve the experience for the audience that's watching. I believe this is in reference to Nettles. I would say that we don't do anything on the show without long discussion and consideration. And I would just say we understand these stories that have kind of risen to the top. They get talked about a lot online. Why do you think it gets talked a lot online? For very good reason. I think it's our job to adapt and render them in the way that it might not be exactly what you expect, but satisfying and hopefully in some cases exciting and surprising. You see, their outlook is subvert the expectations, or, we wanted to change things for our reasons and screw you all, and we're going to make it sound like, but we want to render them in a way you don't expect. Isn't that what you want? And I think this story is something that falls into a nice area where you can do something that is faithful to the history as written, but also something very unexpected and different. I just have no words. No words. And part of the reason why we all know they're cutting nettles is because they don't want Rhaenyra to look bad. And that's why this show is failing narratively, because it has to have Rhaenyra look bad. It has to have Rhaenyra sucking. And maybe they'll have the courage to go there in season 3. But I don't think they will, because they've already established that it's the men. So if it turns out the men were right about Rhaenyra after they made it all about men versus women, then that would mean the men win. They would probably think, if they do take that route, you see, we're showing that it sucks, as a man's world. But I don't even trust them to do that. I trust if they do something to that effect, it's gonna have the opposite reaction. For example, why everyone was talking about Viserys in season 1. Why? Because he was a great, compelling character and actually well written, and a change from the book, but not a fundamental change. It was an addition. It was seeing a little bit behind the curtain with Viserys. But all of the major plot points with Viserys were there, his flaws included. Adapt. Right. I honestly thought 2017 to 2019 we would get a release. I was a summer child. Yeah. Well, I did too. That's why I started reading it. And remember, he said he was going to have it in what was it, 2020 at an Australian convention or New Zealand one? Yeah, he said a year after Feast. So you can't believe him. He's a lying bastardo. Just like The Wheel of Time, House of the Dragon was the showrunner's playground, and they don't need to answer to book fans. The delusion is hysterical and sad, says Salty Traveling Sea, and Adiga Outlet Disappoint. Yes, exactly. It's their playground. And I think by Martin kind of doing what he has been, they're a little shaken, because they're like, darn it, the author is undermining us in this. And at the end of the day, people will always side with the author. It's the same way with Star Wars. They can say whatever they want, but Star Wars is George Lucas's. A bunch of monkeys throwing shit around. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I have finished The Great Hunt. It was such a good book. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And I can't wait to read the third one. Now, here's my sad, sorry story. I was supposed to fly out tonight to get home after my cruise, which was amazing. But unfortunately, this horrible cold, which thank goodness wasn't COVID, my cabin mate, my best friend, she got it. So I was like, "Oh great, here we go. Here we go again." But somehow I managed not to. Maybe I washed my hands enough. Who knows? Maybe I caught the cold from all those little people. But in any case, I'm not flying out tonight. I'm flying out later the weekend, because this is a bad cold, a very bad one, and I don't want to fly because I'll be miserable. And also, out of consideration for my fellow passengers, even if I wear a mask, the last thing they want to have is someone like me in the airport or in the airplane. So I guess my life sucks. I have to sit around on the beach for another week. But with that being said, I don't know what I was saying because my head isn't clear. Oh, that's why I can't start the next book, the third book. I think it's The Dragon Reborn. I really wanted to start right away, but I do have Cleric Quintet, the third book I'm reading right now from R.A. Salvatore. These Forgotten Realms books are amazing, so I still have those to read. It's nice also to spend some extra time with my parents. Maybe help them out a bit. I would love to talk to you about it. Yes, sir. Well, let's do this. Let's schedule it. I'm dodgy right now because the main reason I decided to just go ahead and go live with this was because I was in a window of opportunity where my cold symptoms, if you catch my meaning, weren't so bad. But yeah, let's stay in touch with that one because I would love to do that. And I might be doing a review. I have some videos almost ready to go. Here's the thing. I was going to release some videos while I was gone on the cruise and stuff, but sorry, kids. Blackjack won over my love for my YouTube channel. Though I do love my YouTube channel, but I needed Blackjack more. Yeah. Dragonborn is great too. Yay! Smash that like. Thank you. Nerdporial says, I'm not going to read Lord of Chaos. Oh, I'm going to be reading Lord of Chaos shortly. I wonder if that is the best book. Everyone claims it is. Oh, yes. Is that the fifth one? Yes, I believe a lot of people say that. Yeah, Blackjack beats YouTube. Dude, one day we're all going to meet on a cruise and just play blackjack and just hang out and stuff. I think that's the best way to meet people because go to neutral locations just in case I'm the serial killer I've always been telling you all I am, deep down. Maybe you weren't there when that joke was made because they were like, she's the nicest person. I'm like, man, I have you fooled. I'm really a serial killer living in, high security prison. But I digress. I love blackjack and roulette. Yeah, so I had some luck on roulette. I have rules. I let it ride on red because, that's my favorite color. And then black because my dad was a fan of Dale Jr. So on one day it's all red. The next day it's black. Yeah, I don't play much more strategy with roulette, but it is fun. It is fun. Fifth one is Fires of Heaven. That one is okay. I was disappointed. Oh, okay. So I misunderstood. Soul Assassin. I saw the sign. What sign? Ace of Spades. Yes. No, let's see. I was up like 100, 200. I had some good runs. Of course, I spent it all, but hey, I'm on a friggin' cruise. Spent it all on spa services and spa products. I got my hair done. That was fun. I got my hair cut. So bought some perfume at the duty free. Some eau de toilette. So yes, I'm now a cruising addict. Tell you the one I want to do, if I can somehow arrange it with other situations. There's one called Pole to Pole, where you go up to the North Pole or down to the South Pole. That's the way to see it. It's like 25 days. And there's also a Viking one that starts like in Boston port, I think, and then goes all the way up into Canada where all the Vikings were, then over to Greenland, then over to Iceland and Ireland and Scotland, all the Viking places, and up around Scandinavia and around Finland and maybe even Normandy, where my ancestor was shagged by someone from Norway. So that's how we all ended up where we ended up. So good times. Good times. Well, we have 9 people here. Thank you, everyone who has been here and popping in today. I will be giving you all more content. Like I said, it was a rough time. And then I lost my cat. And then I had a surgery on top of everything else. And so this opportunity for the cruise came up because my friend said, I'm going anyways. There's no one else in my cabin. Girl, show up. And I did. And it's the best thing I did. So there. Those Viking cruises look like they're up my alley. Yes. But unfortunately, again, that one is a pretty long one as well. And they can get a little bit pricey, but I'm gonna start budgeting for more of this. Now, some of these Caribbean ones or the ones that go down to Mexico, they're pretty economical and rather short. One I want to do is where you dip down to the Panama Canal. I want to go to the Panama Canal, and that's the way to see it. But for now, I just got to get over this cold and then somehow get back home and regroup, and then we're going to try to figure out what we're doing with the next few months. So, anyways, I want to say thank you. Oh, sorry, Soul Assassin, I missed that. I bet Teresa's Master Jack Black players should clean up people's wallets. Yeah, well, you don't clean out you clean out the dealer's wallets. Well, not really the dealer. It's the house. The house always wins, but yes, blackjack is my game. I'll just put it to you that way. I don't want to brag, but blackjack is my game. There's a strategy to it, and I do it. Yes. So I'm going to say thank you to everyone that showed up. We had Adega Outlaw, Soul Assassin, Salty Traveling Sea, Nordporeal Lifeform. Let's see. We had Steve Kenobi. He popped in. We had, oh boy, if I missed anyone, I'm really sorry. Some people, Nacholini 17, Robbie A, Uncle Ruckus, Jeff Smith, and Hound 3000. And I think I said no pro life form. So thank you. Please subscribe to everyone because they've got really good content out there. And let's keep going through the misery. Oh, I haven't even started with Rings of Prime. I've got some stuff to say about it. It's pretty ridiculous. Oh well. Soul Hound says, good night, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you. Soul Assassin, adios, Teresa, and chat. Salty Traveling Sea, have a great day, or at least a pretty good one. Yeah. Well, when you're at the beach, even if you're sick, you're at the beach. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to avoid those toxic butterflies.